Random House Audio presents The Informant, A True Story, by Kurt Eichenwald. Read for you by Arthur Morey. June 27, 1995, Decatur, Illinois. The Country Club of Decatur loomed ahead, and Brian Shepard slowed the pace of his 1994 Dodge Dynasty. Beside him in the passenger seat, Bob Herndon checked his watch again, although he already knew the time. 6 p.m., right on schedule. Shepard turned onto the club's inclined driveway, heading to the parking lot, as another car followed him up the hill. The two mid-sized sedans, out of place amid the array of Mercedes and BMWs, maneuvered into parking spaces. Without a word, Shepard and Herndon popped open their doors and watched as Kevin Corr emerged from the second car and joined them. The three men walked in step toward the club. Despite their differing ages and backgrounds, the three somehow looked strikingly similar. They had short, trimmed hair and dressed in dark suits with dark dress shoes. Their suit jackets fit loosely, masking the stainless steel automatic pistols that they carried. As expected, most every club member was there, enjoying the food and ambience of a night at the grill. The upstairs dining hall was sure to be virtually empty, a refuge for local businessmen looking for a quiet place to talk. It was perfect for the plan. Tonight there would likely be no witnesses to get in the way. The three men headed toward the club's canopy-covered entryway. On the horizon, the sun threw a deep reddish glow across the Illinois countryside. Even here, far from the giant milling factories that dominate Decatur, a pungent aroma hung in the air. Newcomers to town usually found the smell disagreeable, but for Decatur residents, the ever-present odor produced by drying corn feed and toasting soy meal at the powerful Archer Daniels Midland Company had become part of the landscape. Locals often joked it was just the smell of money being made. The men pushed open the club's glass door, walking left toward the dining hall. This night, only one table was occupied, on the far side of the room, where three executives were chatting over drinks. Two of the men were well known in town. Even their waitress recognized them as Terry Wilson and Mark Whitacre from the nearby ADM headquarters. Corr waited in a foyer outside the dining hall as Shepard and Herndon walked briskly up to the businessmen. "Mr. Wilson, Mr. Whitacre," Herndon said. The youngest of the diners, a blond man in his mid-30s with a mustache and a baby face, looked at Herndon with a puzzled expression. "Yes," he said. "I'm Mark Whitacre." Herndon and Shepard reached inside their jackets, bringing out matching leather cases. Two gold shields flashed in the light of the dining hall. "I'm Bob Herndon, and I'm an FBI agent. This is Brian Shepard. He's also an FBI agent. We need to talk to both of you privately. Right now." Wilson, in his 50s with white hair, set down his glass of Dewar's and water. "What's this all about?" "Well, Mr. Wilson, the best thing would be if Agent Shepard and I could talk to you over here," Herndon said, pointing to the foyer where Corr was waiting. Wilson glanced across the table at his second dinner partner, Stephen Yu, a visiting executive from ADM's division in China. With an almost imperceptible shrug, Wilson excused himself. He and Whitacre began to stand when Wilson abruptly stopped. "Do I need an attorney?" he asked. "That's up to you," Herndon said. "You're not under arrest. You're not in custody. You can leave any time. But you may want to hear what we have to say." Wilson nodded. He and Whitacre left the dining hall, leaving behind their bewildered colleague. As they reached the foyer, Herndon introduced Corr. "Agent Corr, why don't you find a place to talk to Mr. Whitacre?" Corr looked at Whitacre. "Is that all right with you, sir?" Whitacre nodded, his face a seeming mixture of astonishment and confusion. Corr escorted Whitacre outside as Wilson found a seat in the foyer. Herndon and Shepard took chairs on either side. "Mr. Wilson, we're here to see you because you're very important to ADM," Herndon began. "This is a serious matter. It involves an international investigation regarding price fixing. There are many companies involved, including ADM." Herndon watched Wilson carefully. The man didn't flinch, but the color was draining from his face. The FBI had used a number of investigative techniques in developing the case, Herndon said. He paused for an instant and then dropped the bomb. "We have tapes in this case," he said. "We have tapes of competitors getting together to fix prices." For several minutes, Wilson listened, reeling as Herndon spoke. The agent said that the FBI knew ADM and its competitors had conspired to rig worldwide prices of its products and had formed bogus industry associations as a cover for their illegal meetings. "Excuse me, sir. Cover?" Wilson interrupted. "What do you mean by cover?" Herndon and Shepard suppressed smiles. They knew Wilson understood exactly what they meant. The time had come to make that clear. "We've heard you say over and over that the associations are the perfect cover," Herndon said. "We've heard you say it on tape. We've seen you agree to fix prices. We've seen you tell others to do it." Herndon paused, staring into Wilson's eyes. Seconds passed, seeming like minutes. Finally, Herndon broke the tension. "There are going to be indictments. People will be going to jail. Right now, you have the opportunity to make a decision, and we would like you to make the right decision." This was Wilson's chance to admit his mistakes, Herndon said, a chance to someday be able to look his grandchildren in the eye and say that he had done the right thing by confessing and helping the government. "It's tough, but it will be tougher if you don't cooperate," Herndon said. "We're giving you the chance to—" Suddenly Wilson interrupted. "I'm surprised you didn't go through the company attorneys," he said. "I know the antitrust laws, and I haven't done anything wrong. And don't think I don't recognize the pressure tactics you're using." Wilson stood up. "I haven't done anything wrong," he repeated, "and this interview is over." The agents rose and thanked Wilson. Herndon handed him a subpoena, pointing out the name of the government attorney who would be available to answer any questions. The two agents headed out the door. Almost immediately, they saw Corr and Whitacre heading back from the agent's car. It appeared that interviewing Whitacre had been as fruitless as confronting Wilson. Herndon stared at Whitacre as they passed on the sidewalk. "Goodbye, Mr. Whitacre," he said. "Thank you for your time." "Sure," Whitacre replied hastily. "I just don't think I know anything that can help you guys." Herndon and Shepard walked to their car and climbed inside. "Mark, stay calm," Wilson said. "Stay calm." It was about 30 minutes later. Wilson and Whitacre were hustling across the club parking lot, having finally ended their dinner with Stephen Yu. Every few minutes, Wilson had headed to the phone in a frustrating effort to track down ADM's general counsel, Richard Rising. Between calls, he had sat at the table slamming down scotches. When he finally found Rising, the lawyer sounded panicked. FBI agents were fanning out across Decatur, interviewing executives and seizing documents. Rising said Wilson and Whitacre should immediately head out to the house of Mick Andreas, ADM's vice chairman. He would meet them there. As they climbed into Whitacre's company-issued town car, Wilson was doing his best to calm his colleague and himself. The moment seemed unreal. Here they were, two senior executives at a company of immense influence, known in the corridors of power from Washington to Moscow. This was a company that helped the FBI, for God's sake. Some of its executives were even sources for the Central Intelligence Agency. And now these agents were confronting them, telling them that their own words were on tape? Where the hell did the tapes come from? Maybe, Whitacre suggested, the FBI had tapped some of their telephones. "Well, that may be," Wilson replied. "But what have they got? They got nothing." "Well," Whitacre said softly, "I get calls from time to time." Wilson nodded. "I know that, Mark." They pulled into Mick Andreas's driveway, stopping just past the entryway to the large two-story stone house. As they got out of the car, Wilson saw Andreas walk out of the house, carrying a drink in his hand and with his shirt untucked. Wilson could tell he was in a panic. Andreas told them that the meeting had been moved to Rising's house. "They've been everywhere," Andreas said.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?